Hi everybody and welcome to City Beat. I'm your host Nancy Byrne and we are coming to you from the KCLV TV studios. Now I'm not wearing a mask because there is no public access to this part of City Hall and we stay 6 feet apart. Even if we do get together, no matter how close we are, we all put our masks back on. You know, it's hard to believe that it has been 20 years since the terrorist attacks of 9/11. There are likely to be many tributes due to that milestone anniversary. One was to take place here in Las Vegas on March 23rd. It promised to be very moving, literally and emotionally. This September marks 20 years since the World Trade Center and the Pentagon were struck by passenger jets flown by terrorists. And a third jet went down in Pennsylvania when passengers fought back and forced the plane into the ground. We vowed never to forget, but who would have ever thought this semi would be carrying a tribute built by someone who does not even live in this country and was only 3 months old the day of the attack. Don Vanderstein lives in the Netherlands and is from a family of firefighters. So although he was only an infant when this happened, as he grew older, he became more and more moved by the countless people lost as a result of the senseless attack. He decided to pay tribute to the first responders and all those killed by building a replica of the World Trade Center. He put 10,000 hours into the project.
Amazing young man, amazing young man. And the plan is we will actually have him over here when we go to Manhattan.
Cody Cross is responsible for transporting the replica in this truck, stopping in 21 cities as he makes his way east to New York City and Ground Zero. Las Vegas is his fourth stop.
From here we go to Phoenix and other points east, and we will actually be taking this truck and the exhibit to the Flight 93 Memorial in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. We'll also be going to Arlington National Cemetery, the Pentagon, and then finally we'll be headed into Manhattan with it for the 20th anniversary of 9/11.
As you can see, the truck is more than a vessel. It is in itself a tribute to the fallen, to the military who continue to fight global terrorism every day, the firefighters, police, and medical personnel. This engine painted on the truck carried firefighters to the scene. They never returned to their fire station.
The engine that is depicted on the truck is actually from Midtown Fire Station, and that engine, every firefighter that was assigned to that company and that firehouse was killed on 9/11. If you look closely at the picture, you can actually see the operators of the engine, the engineer, the firefighters, the company is in the engine. And when you see that, and then the realization comes that obviously that picture was taken pre 9/11, to know that those individuals are no longer with us, it just, to me, it changes things.
The truck parked overnight at Las Vegas Fire and Rescue Station 1 the day before it would take part in an honor walk at the Grant Sawyer building. Little did we know the walk would never take place.
Can we have everybody please stand and walk over to this side for us, please?
Just a few feet behind the line of cameras, this was the culprit. What appeared to be a series of stripped batteries connected to wire. With its placement so close to the Memorial Park on a day when it was known many people were going to be here for a ceremony, it was declared a possible explosive device. And to be safe, the area around the park and the Grant Sawyer building were cleared. The bomb squad, Metro Police, Las Vegas Fire and Rescue, and bomb-sniffing dogs were brought in immediately. It was eventually determined to be harmless, and the okay was given for everyone to return. It is still a mystery as to what the device is and why it was there, but by the time the area was opened back up, the skies opened up as well, and the 911 tribute was forced to be canceled. Fortunately, there was no incident and no one was injured, but a big hats off to the bomb squad, Las Vegas Fire and Rescue, Metro, and all first responders who showed up so quickly to make sure that we were all safe. Well, after that eventful day, that truck took off for the highway, stopping in 17 more cities before finally stopping in New York City and Ground Zero, where the replica will remain. Well, we are all pretty excited to be moving toward a direction that seems to be getting us back to normal. Vaccinations are being administered, schools and businesses are opening up. Even here at City Hall, we are back to work full-time in all city facilities. But our city leaders know this is no time to become complacent. They want to make sure City Hall is safe for employees as well as anyone who wants to visit us here. We spoke with Dr. Lisa Morris-Hibler about the safety protocols you can expect when visiting City Hall. Since the coronavirus struck our world a year ago, new protocols were put into place for staff that continued to come into Las Vegas City Hall as essential workers,
normal temperature,
including temperature checks and social distancing. As the state and our schools began to open up more, so did City Hall. March 15th, all workers were required to report back to work, so now those protocols are required of even more people, both those who work here and those residents with business with the city.
We have really done a lot of things here at the City of Las Vegas to ensure that not only that our employees are working in a safe environment, but also that our customers and citizens also have a safe place to come.
Dr. Lisa Morris-Hibler says as soon as you step onto a city property, those safety measures begin.
You'll notice that first is a screening. So when people enter the building, we're still doing the temperature checks. Employees have the ability to fill out the questions through the app. Then they take their temperature. Same with the citizens. When they come in, they're asked a series of health questions, and then they are screened for their temperature as well. You'll see stations throughout the building for hand sanitizer. Of course, nothing is better than hand washing, so we still encourage frequent washing of your hands for 20 seconds. And then continuing to wear our face shields and social distancing.
When it comes to public meetings such as city council or planning, even though a 50% capacity is permitted, Dr. Morris-Hibler says we are sticking to a smaller number in council chambers to adhere to the 6-foot social distancing mandate.
We get a lot of our direction from the state. So the state has increased the capacity limits. However, what's still in place is the 6 feet social distancing. So when you take into consideration the capacity limits and the social distancing, oftentimes that reduces even further the number of people you can have in any given space. So for instance, our city chamber, we only can have 98 people in the chamber at any given time.
County school districts started reopening on a limited basis beginning March 1st with children pre-K to 3rd grade. March 22nd, the second wave of older students began going back to school. Eventually, all grades will be back. While this is welcome news to kids who've been missing their classmates, teachers, and extracurricular activities, it presents a new challenge to parents opting to continue distance learning or those trying to juggle hybrid schedules.
As a parent of 3 children, I understand what it's like. It's been a very tough year. Many of our children haven't returned to school, and those that have are still on some sort of a hybrid. We have been running the Vegas Strong Academy. We have kept that in place not only for our city employees, but for the community as well. And we understand that the Clark County School District in particular is still phasing kids back in, but we still have that resource available. So if anybody's interested, I would really encourage them to look into that as a resource.
The ultimate goal of these safety measures is to make sure we approach this new wave of openings mandated by the state in a safe manner so we can keep moving forward, not allowing complacency to possibly force a step back. Those safety protocols apply to all city buildings, even the parking garage across from City Hall as soon as you get out of your car. We want to take a moment to thank our Operations and Maintenance Facilities Division. They have gone above and beyond the call of duty to keep all of our city facilities extra clean and sanitized. Well, the list is probably pretty short of good things that came out of the pandemic and the lockdown. You got to spend more time with your family. Maybe you learned to enjoy the simpler things in life, and maybe you got to read some of those books that were collecting dust. Well, as I just found out from Republic Services, it also prompted people to do something good for our planet. When the world closed down during the coronavirus pandemic, many of us had our eyes opened up to something unexpected: how much trash we generate.
As a lot of us change the way that we work and live, spending a lot more time at home, that means eating in. That means drinking at home, but it also means we're doing a lot of online shopping. E-commerce has been huge this past year. Across the nation, we've seen well over a 60% increase in the amount of cardboard that's coming through our recycling streams. So there's a lot more that people are consuming. And I think that that really just reaffirmed that, hey, we need to address what we're doing with our waste at home. What can we recycle? How can we improve our recycling habits?
Republic Services conducted a study and found more than half of those polled were shocked to see the amount of waste generated just out of their own homes.
We wanted to see how the pandemic has affected people's waste and recycling habits. And so the study showed that about 65% said that the pandemic was really a wake-up call for how much trash that they were making. And that really spurred some sustainable shifts in their lifestyle.
Not only did the study show that 65% called the pandemic a wake-up call, 41% said they are now working harder to waste less and conserve more resources, and 30% are committing to being more careful with how they sort their recyclables. Company-wide, Republic Services processed 6 million tons of recyclables in 2020, a big jump from the previous year. Locally, Walters said that enormous increase was noted as well.
If we look at our tonnage from last year, just 2020 alone versus 2019, about 15,000 ton increase year over year, and we can directly relate that to the pandemic.
Of course, home waste increased because people were cooking, eating, and drinking more at home. So aluminum, glass, and plastic was up at recycling centers across the country. But when much of our retail world shut down, consumers chose shipping over shopping. The company saw a 63% increase in residential cardboard at recycling centers. But Walters does warn, not all shipping materials can be recycled.
Unfortunately, the only thing from your online shopping experience that is truly recyclable is the cardboard box itself. We've all probably seen these or these down here. They are not recyclable.
The machinery in most recycling centers is not capable of separating waste that is made up of mixed materials. We all learned to do things differently during the pandemic. Who knew one of those things would be learning how to trash our trash in a more sustainable manner? A quick reminder, most PPEs do not belong in the recycling bin. Those masks are one of those mixed material no-nos, and if you think about it, they're there to block germs, so we really don't want the recycling crew to have to come in contact with them. And the rubber gloves, they're too thin. They'll jam up the machinery. Best rule of thumb is if you're not sure, just throw it in the trash. When in doubt, throw it out. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to take you to a community garden where dozens of volunteers showed up to do some spring planting.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
Welcome back to City Beat from KCLV TV. Well, it is that time of year, time to get those gardens growing. At the Las Vegas Roots Community Garden, their agricultural engineer gathered together with some volunteers to do some planting to get things growing there. Eric Sorensen, photographer and editor, was there for Planting Day.
This is our spring crop. Thank you guys for coming out. I really appreciate you being here. We have okra back here. tomatoes up here. This is the spring equinox. Dinosaur kale, corn, peas are in the back, big leaf basil. This is literally the time of year, this only happens twice, where you have 12 hours of sunlight, 12 hours of night. Cantaloupes, watermelons. This is the perfect time to plant seeds or seedlings in the ground to start growing for your spring season. We learn a little bit about the seasons and the seasonal transitions, the lore behind the seasonal transitions, and actually have give people the experience of pulling up crops, turning over soil, putting in new topsoil, watering, and then putting new plants in the ground. So we're gonna do a tour of the property, just give you guys an understanding of what we're doing here. We are 100% organic. We even make our own soil. In a matter of months, it's gonna turn into this. Fully nutrient-rich soil that's perfect for planting. This is where the magic happens. We've been working on growing starters and seeds since January, so that we'll have stuff to plant out here on today. We have everything ready to go, or on their trays, and each one of our rows is numbered, and the trays are numbered, so we know where each thing is going. All right, I don't think these wheels work, so we're gonna carry this over. It's a little heavier than I thought. There we go. There we go. Just make sure nothing falls. Put this, sorry, sweetie, on halfway down row one. Halfway down row one? Yes, and put these towards the end of row one. Again, you're going to just make a nice little circle, scoop it out. You're going to massage the cup, turn it upside down. Then you're going to massage the roots. Plant it in, put the soil around it, make sure it's nice and secure. So we're gonna set these out, get an idea. Mustards grow big, right? So we want to give them enough room and space. At least 12 feet. 12 feet. I don't know if I got that much yard. People come out and help. I think it was really great. We have several groups out here. They move way faster than I expected. They're supposed to be here, supposed to have work for them up until like 2 o'clock, but they got all of the planting done before noon, which in farmers' times, that's really awesome. We want to get everything done before noon. So yeah, our fields are now fully or half stocked, and we're ready to start producing.
Vegas Roots is a wonderful community garden where you can go rent a plot to grow your own fruits and vegetables. You can volunteer, or you can just go out there and buy fresh fruits and vegetables. It's located at 715 North Tonopah. Well, speaking of that time of year, it's that time of year to get those taxes done. And if you qualify, you could get some free help. Here's some locations where the AARP and the IRS are offering help filing taxes. Don't forget to call if you are going to one of those locations. First of all, many of them require appointments, and you want to make sure you bring the proper paperwork. It's time for another break, but when we come back, we are going to celebrate oxen. We'll tell you why.
Our family is no less than any other family.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Welcome back to City Beat from the KCLV TV studios. Each year, the City of Las Vegas Office of Cultural Affairs hosts an art exhibit paying homage to the Chinese New Year. This year is the Year of the Ox, so we decided to stop by the Mayor's Gallery at the historic 5th Street School to check out some 30 local artists' interpretations of the ox. According to the Chinese zodiac, this is the year of the ox, the second in the succession of the 12 animals. And as you look around the Mayor's Gallery here at the historic 5th Street School, you will see the ox in many artistic forms.
We have painting, drawing, sometimes we have prints, collage, fibers, resin, photo in resin. I mean, it's just very mixed media.
Each year, the call goes out to local artists to pay homage through art to the animal represented by the Chinese zodiac.
It has to be a reference to the ox, or it could be an abstract reference, but it could also be that it's really pretty detailed ox. And then the other thing is that it has to pay homage to the Chinese heritage.
This year was more challenging than usual, but worth it, according to Jeannie.
This was a tough year with the COVID, but we still have, almost 30 artists, and usually, like last year, we had 50. So it has changed a little bit, but still some really strong pieces.
She says she is always bowled over by the level of artistic talent in our community and by the wide range of training and education these artists go through. She says putting them together with one theme gives this annual exhibit a unique flavor.
I like to invite a combination of different levels of ability, but even the people that have taught themselves have really strong work in here and have done kind of a masterful job at teaching themselves, like the artist behind me, Steve Horlock, and he has just taken off with the pieces every year. And pretty soon he's going to have a 12-piece exhibit to highlight every animal. And he puts a lot of narrative in there, which I like a lot.
The narrative in this painting, according to the artist Steve Horlock, is the fire representing a cleansing. Last year was the year of the rat, and you can see the ox leading them away from last year and the turbulence it brought to us all. Not all the pieces in this exhibit have deep meaning behind them. Some are simply beautifully bedazzled. Others are abstract and actually make you search for the ox theme. The art is diverse here, and diversity is exactly what Jeannie and the Office of Cultural Affairs hopes this yearly display helps us all embrace.
It really was about people recognizing and appreciating other people's diversity or other people's culture. And so I think it's really important that we continue to highlight different cultures and make people think about, how is someone different? And so we're all kind of in this together. We all have our lives and we all live them different different ways. And so I think it's important to highlight that.
So if you are ready to celebrate a new year, and I think most of us are, stop by and welcome in the Year of the Ox. Well, the exhibit is by appointment only at the historic 5th Street School, but you can call and make an appointment by calling 229-ARTS. And by the way, you do hear me say the name Steve Horlock quite a bit here on City Beat. That's because aside from being an incredible self-taught artist, he's also an amazing photographer, editor, and the drone operator for the city of Las Vegas. So hats off to you, Steve. Well, it's time to say goodbye, but as we do, we mentioned earlier, spring has sprung. This is a great time to go check out the wonderful parks across our city. Here's a little tour. See you for the next City Beat.